It's off mute. 1, 2, 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Got it? Perfect.
Good afternoon, basketball fans. I'm Tom Smith along with Ron Probst. We're at Pollard Gymnasium in Speedway, Indiana for today's high school basketball game between the Speedway Sparkplugs and our visitors from Lebanon High School. The Tigers enter the game with a record of 10-8. Their leading scorer for the year, Carson Bertrand, will not start. I'm talking to Coach Albert Hendricks before the game in the doghouse a little bit, Coach, and wasn't quite sure how much he's going to play today. He is their leading scorer. But the starting lineup for the Lebanon Tigers, Luke Farrell will be one guard, a 6'3 senior. At a forward, number 22, Michael Reese, a 6'3 senior. At another guard is Reese Jones, a 5'11 sophomore, who is their leading scorer, who will actually be starting the game. And Kobe Ottinger, a 6'4 sophomore, is a forward, and the starting lineup is rounded out by Hunter Crew, a 6'4 sophomore. So Coach, the Lebanon Tigers are all for the most part in the 6'3", 6'4 range. For the Sparkplugs, at one guard will be Carson Harrison, a 5'11 junior. Another guard for the Sparkplugs, Reese Walker, a 5'8 sophomore. Number 24, Jevin Ruffin, number 30, is a 6' senior forward. Drew Valentine is a 5'7 guard, number 32. And rounding out the Sparkplug starting lineup is senior center Zeke Perez, a 6' senior, number 34. So as you can tell from the starting lineups, the Sparkplug's tallest player is 6 foot tall. The Lebanon Tigers will start 4 players, 6'3 or taller. So it'll be a tough matchup for the Sparkplugs.
Yeah, we're kind of used to that this year, I think. Most of the games we play with, we're undersized. But that really hasn't stopped us from getting better as a team. We had a rough outing, the last one the other night, but we had 4 or 5 games in a row where I think our kids really started to play together, gel, and all you're going to ask is to get as much out of them as you can, to play as well as you possibly can. And we had that going there for a while. And I know Coach Bennett today wants to get back into that, albeit it's going to be a very tough task. Lebanon 10-8. I think they're 6-1 in the Sagamore Conference, so they're looking to finish the year on a strong note. Good game for us. It's a 3A school, a little bit larger than what we are, but a great basketball tradition. They brought a nice crowd for Saturday afternoon, I thought, so it'll be interesting to see how we respond and going forward.
I wasn't quite sure how many people would be here with IU and Purdue tipping off at the same time this game is tipping off. Actually a little later than the Purdue-IU game is. But this will be a tough matchup for the Plugs. Now, having said that, one of the best games they've played all year long is against Ben Davis, one of the largest schools in the state and a county tourney.
Restrooms are located on the second level of the gym, behind the American flag, and also on the first level of the school, and the hallway opposite the team benches. The concession stand.
Now listening to the public address announcer here, John Del Corobo, is making some announcements, and then we'll have the national anthem.
We ask for all attending today's contest to act responsibly and courteously to those around them. Negative language and inappropriate behavior will not be tolerated. Please give the players, officials, and coaches the respect they deserve. Thanks for being a good sport. Hey, this weekend, both Speedway and Lebanon and other IHSAA member high schools celebrate Basketball Day Indiana, a statewide effort to appreciate the rich tradition and strong support for basketball in the Hoosier State. Thank you to Fox Sports Indiana and the IHSAA for this opportunity. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you can please rise and remove your hats, and we'll honor our nation's flag with the playing of the national anthem. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet today's starting lineups. First from the Lebanon Tigers. At guard, number 20, Luke Farrell.
Luke Farrell's a 6'3" senior, as we mentioned earlier, number 20. He's our leading rebounder, a little over 5 rebounds a game. 22, Michael Reese is 6'3", number 22, a senior.
Number 33, Hunter Cruz.
Number 24, Reese Jones, a 5'11" sophomore.
Assisted by Dave Farrell, Dale Smith, Larry Smith.
25, Kobe Ottinger, a 6'4" sophomore. And 33, Hunter Cruz, a 6'4" sophomore. So for today's game, the Lebanon Tigers will start 2 seniors and 3 sophomores.
Number 22, Carson Harrison.
For the Sparkplugs, starters, first number 24, Reese Walker, 5'8" sophomore. Carson Harrison, a 5'11" junior, number 22.
Number 34,
Drew Valentine, a 5'7" junior, number 32, are the 3 guards. Inside players are Devin Ruffin, number 30, a 6-foot senior, and Zeke Perez, also a 6-foot senior, number 34.
Contest to Casper, Greg Kirkham, and Dana McKenzie.
But Coach, for those out there wondering why we're playing on a Saturday afternoon, this is girls sectional time. Sectional finals are tonight for the girls. So there are very, very few boys games around the state this evening.
I think I looked last night, there were about 4 boys games last night and a lot of boys games this afternoon.
Speedway comes up with a tip. Carson Harrison. Travel called on Drew Valentine. First turnover for the Plugs. Speedway, a man-to-man defense. 33 on the back cut. Hunter Cruz, the first field goal. Be a tough matchup of man-to-man, Coach, with 2 6'3" and a 6'4".
Sometimes early in games, especially when you're matched against a much taller team, a coach will like to start off in man-to-man just to get the players' feet moving. I don't think we'll stay in it that long, but who knows?
You know, that's been kind of our staple defense. We heard Coach Bennett prior to the game say they're going to mix it up and play some 2-3 zone. Field goal by Kobe Ottinger. Once again, Coach, you're 6'4" and you're 5'11", trying to guard him. That matchup inside is difficult to do. As we've said before in Speedway games all year long, you won't find them short of effort though. Speedway kids will play hard.
Yep.
Drew Valentine on the drive, and he scores for the first points for the Plugs. 4-2 Lebanon. Minute and a half gone in the first quarter. Now Speedway in a zone defense, 2-3 zone. Shot outside by 22. Michael Reese was no good. We have a foul on the play. And that's going to be on Jevin Ruffin.
Foul on number 30, Jevin Ruffin, his first, team first.
Drew Valentine knocks it out of the hand of Kobe Ottinger, and the Plugs come up with the ball with a chance to tie or go ahead with a three-pointer. Coach Bennett also talked about the fact, Ron, that Plugs are going to have to be patient with the ball. Several passes before shots are taken. Nice spin move by Zeke Perez for the field goal. Score is tied, 4. But with the height situation, and we don't want to overdo the fact, but it's our advantage that the game have a slower pace than be ripping up and down the floor.
And that's been our recipe for success here in the last, recipe for playing better.
And I mentioned the Ben Davis game. That was the recipe in the Ben Davis game that kept us right in the game until midway through the fourth quarter. With a school 10 times our size. Three-pointer out of the corner by Michael Reese. The Tigers take a 3-point lead. Reese Walker with a three-pointer, no good.
Wow, nice move.
Nice move by number 20. Luke Farrell with a field goal. Now a 5-point lead for the Tigers. Zeke Perez with the shot. Don't know that that's the shot Coach Bennett's looking for, but was open. Lebanon inbound the ball with just a little over 4 minutes to go in this first quarter, leading 9-4. Plugs remain in their 2-3 zone. Elvin Camacho, a 5'8" senior, now in the lineup for the Sparkplugs. And that'll be Sparkplug ball.
I think we got by with one here a little bit. Jevin Ruffin, I believe, was shading to the corner for number 22, probably a good three-point shooter, and kind of left the basket wide open, but turnover helped us.
Nate Metallic, a 6-foot freshman in the lineup for the Sparkplugs. Nate has gotten progressively better as he's gotten used to varsity basketball over the course of the year. Started out playing on the JV team some. Drew Valentine with a long three-pointer is good. And that's his 5th point. Plugs close it to 9-7. Good ball movement on the part of the Tigers. Shot missed by Luke Farrell. Rebound pulled down by Michael Reese. Around the corner, Kobe Ottinger. And his three-pointer makes it 12-7. Valentine on the 15-footer is no good. Two minutes remaining in this first quarter, 12-7 Lebanon.
Turn. I think it's about the third or fourth year, if I remember right, that we played Lebanon, maybe more, but I've seen most of the games, and they've always impressed me. Well-grounded, fundamental team, good passing team. They're not going to run up and down and score a ton of points, but a very solid team every year that we face them. We were lucky enough last year, I believe, to win 51-49.
Coach Hendricks does a great job with the Tigers, and like you say, very fundamental, unselfish. Of course, those of you who are chronologically challenged will remember back to the years of Rick Mount, a star at Lebanon, a star in high school, and a star at Purdue University. Maybe the best shooter, certainly if not, the class isn't very large ahead of him in terms of good shooters that the state of Indiana has produced. Back into the game, Reese Walker replacing Jake Perez, 43 seconds to go. I think one game at Purdue, if they'd have had three-point shots, wouldn't amount to score like 70-some points.
I think he had 61 one year, and they went back and looked, and he probably would have had over 70. Nice post up.
Post up by 33, Hunter Crew. Here again, you've got a 6'4" guy posting up against a 5'8" guy. But nevertheless, good position. Crew got in and took advantage of it. Valentine puts in a great left-handed shot.
Basket counts. Foul on number 24 for the
Foul
Tigers.
on 24, that's his second foul. Reese Jones.
Team second on the line for the Sparkplugs, number 32, Drew Valentine.
Three big points right there.
Wanted to wait to make sure that didn't go in, Coach. 14-10 at the end of the first quarter with Valentine's three-point play.
John Dalcaraba was talking on the announcement early in the game where this is Fox Day of basketball in Indiana. A lot of games going on, and as you mentioned, the Purdue IU game, the Pacers at home tonight, the girls sectionals. A lot of games this afternoon, and I know a couple weeks ago we played Shortridge, and we were commenting on their history and their tradition, and that's part of the reason for Fox doing this today is honoring the tradition of high school and all basketball in Indiana. And we're playing, in my mind, probably one of the top 25 teams in terms of high school tradition in Indiana. Lebanon High School has won 52 sectionals, 12 regionals, 2 semi-states, and 3 state championships. Now, the last 2 comments here don't make a lot of sense, but when they won the first state championship, we did not have a semi-state. And Tom, looking over their history going all the way back to 1911, 3 times in the tournament they played Speedway High School. And I know we're getting going here, but in 1965, I believe you were a senior, and we knocked off the Lebanon Tigers. Do you remember anything about that game?
Well, I do. It was at Zionsville High School, and we won 63-54 maybe. Rick Mount was a junior. That was my senior year. I think we ended up maybe 16-7. Went to the regional and lost to Kokomo in overtime in the regional at Kokomo, but certainly one of the highlights of Sparkplugs class of 1965 year with beating Lebanon in the section.
Absolutely. Longtime coach, Jim Rosensteel was there a lot of years and built that program.
Seven minutes remaining in the second quarter. No score yet in the second quarter. Harrison comes down with a rebound.
Before games, you always try to say, boy, if this game, the score needs to be in the whatever. And this is where it has to be for us to be competitive with a team like Lebanon. It's 14-10. Not a lot of scoring, but this is how we have a chance.
Coach, I noticed number 2 entering the game is our leading scorer on the year, Carson Bertrand.
Count the basket, Drew Valentine.
Valentine hits the 3, is fouled, and has an opportunity to make a 4-point play. Michael Reese with his first foul.
On the line, Drew Valentine.
Drew was injured a big part of the first of this year, and just recently seems to be getting a lot more confidence back in his body and getting over the injury that he suffered.
We are tied at 14, 6:20 remaining in the first half. As we said, Carson Bertrand now with the ball, leading scorer, averaging 16 a game for the Tigers.
That's me.
Luke Farrell on the shot, his 4th point of the game. And I know same things happen with Speedway this year. Sometimes people make a poor choice and end up sitting part of the ball game, or sometimes all the ball game for choices. Elvin Camacho with a 3-point shot attempt, no good. Bertrand with the ball on the wing, being guarded by Reese Walker. Now guarded by Nate Metallic. Metallic went for the steal, missed, and leads to a field goal by 25. Kobe Ottinger with a field goal, his 7th point of the game. And Coach Bennett's going to call a 30-second timeout.
I think a good timeout right here. We had tied the game 14. They've scored 4 quick ones, and you don't want to get too far behind in a game like this. And you kind of want to squelch the run when you got a chance. And it's only a 30-second, but get us settled down a little bit, and hopefully we can get another run of our own.
So Drew Valentine has 12 of our 14 points.
Checking in for the Sparkplugs.
And for the Tigers, Kobe Ottinger. Kobe Ottinger, the leading scorer for the Tigers right now with 7. Zeke Perez and Jevin Ruffin check back into the lineup for the Plugs. Good interior pass to Zeke Perez, who gets it out to Valentine for the 3, misses it. And we're going to have a foul on Zeke Perez. It'll be his first.
Speedway foul on number 34, Zeke Perez.
Team second.
Team second.
Only person in first half foul trouble, Reese Jones, a 5'11" sophomore for the Tigers, who started the game, has 2 fouls. Carson Bertrand shot, short, offensive rebound picked up. We have a foul on Carson Harrison.
That was a really good attempt at the block out, but I think he got a little bit too low and kind of pushed him out. But Carson had the right idea.
John Morgan, a 6'5" senior, into the game for the Tigers. Three-second violation against the Tigers. Once again, 4:19 remaining in the first half, 18-14. Lebanon now with a 1-2-2 3/4 court press. I imagine trying to speed up the tempo of the game. Wraparound pass by Zeke Perez goes out of bounds. 11 ball. That's another thing we got to do, Coach. If we're going to hang in the game, we got to minimize the number of turnovers we have. Take advantage of each shot attempt.
You know, that's just, I saw a couple plays right there. That's a skill that's not practiced an awful lot, and that's interior passing. When you're only 3-4 feet away from your defender, really important that you throw bounce passes, get good angles.
Checking in for the Sparkplugs, number 24, Reese Walker. Tiger foul on number 33, Hunter Crew.
Hunter Crew was his first foul. Once again, 1-2-2 3/4 court press by the Tigers.
Surprises me a little bit that Lebanon's sticking with the zone as long as they have. I thought they'd play a little bit just to change it up, but it's about the 4th or 5th possession in a row now where they stayed in the zone. Has been to our advantage. I was going to say to our advantage, but a bad pass.
They turn around and give it right back to us. Coach Bennett in his pregame talk, we talked about assistant coaches, one of which was Dan Mazzariu. Dan's not here today. He is at Franklin College. They're honoring his team when he was there. Late 70s, very successful team that went to the NAIA National Tournament in Kansas City. Had a group of good players there at that time. On a side note, I remember playing amateur basketball with Coach Mazzariu one night, and he had 16 three-pointers in a game, and it was good players in this game. He had 52 points, and he had 48 of them on three-pointers. Ball tipped out of the hands of Carson Harrison.
I heard a good interview last year on the radio with Coach Lovell, who was the coach of Franklin at that time, talking about that team and some of the games they played in their tournament. Coach Lovell, on a day of honoring basketball in Indiana, what a not much better way that you could have a person representing your school.
And a bunch of people gave up. I know he had a commitment. Coach Mazzariu told me that Coach Lovell had a commitment, but people are coming from California and everywhere for this deal on basketball day here, but to honor that team. One other note, on the way home that night after he scored 52, I told Coach Mazzariu, I said, boy, you on fire. You didn't miss very many shots. And he said, one. Which is so unlike him,
yeah.
If you know him, the most humble individuals. Once again, getting hurt on the boards, Coach, on offensive rebounding.
But we're hanging in there. 18-14, minute 48 to play.
You take away the second chance points that they have scored.
I guess you could always say any stretch in a game is important, but really important for us to stay in this area right here.
Luke Farrell with the first of his 2 free throws.
Jones, number 25, Kobe Ottinger.
Speedway, with the inability to come up with that loose ball, gives another 2 points to the Tigers, and now it's 21-14. Scored 7 straight points. Drew Valentine ends that with a 3-pointer.
A lot of chess match moves going on in this game. A lot of changing defenses.
Another offensive rebound by 33. Hunter Crew misses the putback. Plugs come down with a rebound. I think Carson Harrison might have gotten a little help getting shoved out of bounds.
And that would be just fine with me if Lebanon went for one shot here. About 40 seconds to go till half. And you know, moves like this, also the intent is down the line. You might get in sectional against a team that's really matched up with you well, and you might want to hold the ball for the last second.
Sure. Well, they obviously are going to, as we tick down to 15 seconds, and they call a timeout.
Timeout, Tigers. Is it 30-second timeout?
32nd timeout taken by the Tigers.
I don't
Set
know
up a play.
which announcer it was, but it was on the Butler game the other night with Villanova. Might have been Bill Rafferty talking about when Bobby Plump held the ball for over 4 minutes in the final game of the state championship in 1954. And we don't see a lot of that anymore. Of course, now the rules have changed, obviously, but
No.
But again, you got to do what within
Absolutely,
the
you got to
rules
play to your
give-
advantages.
Exactly, and
Checking in for the Tigers after the timeout, number 2, Carson Burton.
Carson Burton checks back into the game. We mentioned earlier the leading scorer, number 2, leading scorer on the season with about 16 a game.
I'm sure there's going to be a set play here. Plugs change defenses.
Got some fouls to give if we wanted to.
Good boy.
Big Perez with a long shot, no good, and the half ends 11-21,
Good half.
Speedway 17. We'll be right back with your first half scoring. We are back at Speedway High School. The halftime score is Lebanon 21, Speedway 17. Leading scores for Lebanon, Luke Farrell and Kobe Ottinger both have 7. Speedway has kind of a unique situation at a halftime score. We've only had 2 different players that have scored. Drew Valentine has 15, Zeke Perez has 2. Coach, let's harken back to 1993-94 basketball season and share with us what happened in a game you were coaching.
Tom, we were playing Ben Davis, who was number 1 in the state at that time. They had Mr. Basketball on that team. They had 4 Division I players. They were right in the middle of a 2-year state championship run. And we always played Ben Davis like third week in January, and we had him here. And we had a nice team. And we were down 32-26 at halftime. And on the way down to the locker room, Coach Massaro, you were talking about earlier, asked me, he goes, has anybody scored for us other than Steve Shable? And I went, come to think of it, I don't know how you can score a quiet 26 points. And the amazing thing about that was Steve had been sick Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday that week. And Gary Donna, who was in charge of the All-Star team, Mr. Crumley, who was our athletic director, was going to ask him to watch Steve play that night, and called back and said, don't come because he's been sick. He had all 26 points at halftime. And I think we ended up getting beat by 7 or 8. But
and you had other players that shot it. You had other players that shot free throws.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was the only one that was shooting.
One of our players was a good friend of Damon Frierson, who was Mr. Basketball, and said of the 4 years that he played for Coach Woody, that's the loudest they ever got yelled at in the locker room at halftime.
The Sparkplugs, Drew Valentine once again has 15 of the 17. Zook Perez with the other 2. Other people have shot it. Haven't shot free throws. Drew Valentine shot both free throws the Plugs had. Carson Harrison with a steal. Shot gets blocked. Ball goes out of bounds. Sparkplugs escape without a score from the Tigers. Well, I don't imagine Coach Hendricks was very happy at halftime.
I would imagine not. And now we're seeing about their 3rd or 4th different defense here. A little 1-2-2 half court. And you know as well as I do, as long as you leave an underdog hang around, you never know.
That is a double dribble, I believe. Lob pass. Easy field goal for Luke Farrell, who now has 9. It's the advantage you have with a height advantage.
Nice move.
Perez with a nice move, and we've got a foul on 25. Kobe Ottinger, that'll be his first.
Count the basket foul on number 25 of the Tigers. Kobe Ottinger, his first.
Coach, the first half, both teams shot 2 free throws apiece. This will be the 5th free throw shot in this game. Zeke Perez hits it. So Drew Valentine now with 15. Zeke Perez with 5 for the Sparkplugs 20 points as they trail 23-20. Carson Bertrand with his first 2. Once again, a 2-3 zone by the Tigers.
Again, I'm just a little surprised that Tigers have remained in the zone as long as I have. We're running a lot of seconds off. I know it's still early in the third quarter, but
three-pointer by 24, Reese Jones. (28-20). Lebanon's outscored the Sparkplugs 7-3 this quarter. Coach, in order for Sparkplugs to hang around in there, Reese Walker, Carson Harrison have got to hit some threes and score some points to make them a threat. Valentine misses another three. That's going to be a block on Drew Valentine. Reese Jones scores, and we'll go to the free throw line.
Dr. Count, that was on number 32 of the Sparkplugs, Drew Valentine, his first.
And once again, Coach, we can't let them get away.
No.
Good ball handlers. Free throw misses. Valentine comes up with a rebound to Reese Walker. Carson Harrison. We got a foul on 33. Hunter Crew, his second. Plugs will take the ball out of bounds. 3 fouls on Lebanon, 1 foul on the Sparkplugs so far. We've got to take advantage of the shots we get. We've got to take good shots. Now we're going to have a foul on 22, I believe. Michael Reese, that's his second. We've got to take advantage of the open shots. We've had some threes, good threes we've had looks at.
For the most
I realize
part,
that's not a given to hit a three, but we've got to take advantage of those shots.
for the most part, I think our shot selection tonight has been not just from where it's come from, but the timing has been very good.
Near steal by Bertrand. Drew Valentine with a long three, no good. All down by Luke Farrell. Another three by Reese Jones. He's got 8 points this quarter, his first 8 points of the game, and they've opened up a 13-point lead. Reese Walker short on the little jump shot.
If you're sitting on the Lebanon bench right now, what you're hoping your team can do is step on the throat. I hope they don't, but
Carson Bertrand with a shot, 3-point shot missed. Reese Walker with a rebound.
I would also think, kind of jumping on the bandwagon, what you said a minute ago, this team would be very difficult to come from behind in the last 3 or 4 minutes of a game. Get in there.
Missed opportunity there. A couple layup attempts. Drew Valentine and Carson Harrison that didn't fall. Got an offensive foul on 33, Hunter Crew.
Tucker foul on number 33, Hunter Crew, his third, team fourth. Checking in for the Sparkplugs, number 40, Nathan Talent, and number 20, Elvin Camacho.
Common mistake Carson Harrison made, which a lot of people make, and for young players out there, you try to double clutch a shot inside. Just go up and go strong. If they block it, they block it. But when you try to avoid being fouled on the play, usually it doesn't work out very well.
Hey, we're getting the ball in the middle pretty easily.
Valentine, the baseline jumper, no good. All the shots that fell the first half for Drew are not falling this half. He's getting 1:35 remaining in this third quarter. Plugs now trail by 13.
Very difficult.
Reese Walker with the foul. Carson Bertrand will go to the line for his first free throws of the night. Tigers now 2 for 4 from the free throw line as a team tonight. Bertrand toes the line for his second free throw. We've said many times, Coach, without ever watching him shoot free throws, usually scores, usually good scorers or good free throw shooters, and Carson Bertrand's first free throws were no exception. The other end of the floor, Elvin Camacho converts a three-pointer and from the corner for the Sparkplugs. 35-23, 1:25 remaining in this third quarter.
You know, I see statistics from college and pro and high school, and you can improve your free throw shooting. And you do it in the summer, and there's a lot of different styles. There are some fundamentals that you would like to be able to teach kids. We're old enough that we remember people like Hal Greer, who played for the Philadelphia 76ers, who shot a jump shot. Henry Bibby, who shot like 5 feet off to the side of the center. Rick Barry, who was probably the best free throw shooter in history of the NBA, shot underhanded. There's different ways to shoot. It's just important for players to find that way and just shoot and shoot and shoot. And I firmly believe that.
You know, you're exactly correct. I think his name was M.C. Burton, played at Michigan years ago, would stand with his feet parallel to the free throw line and shot from the side.
If they go in, I don't care how they go in.
But you watch free throw shooters, T.J. McConnell, the Pacer, a good example. Terrible form in the way you would like somebody to shoot a free throw. You see people with their elbow way out at the side and everywhere, where as a coach we tried to not have kids shoot that way, but I totally agree with you. If you find a way that works for you, you can shoot 75% or so from the free throw line, stick with it. But I'm also a believer in repetition, as you were talking about.
And if you're a young player out there and you're watching this, in the summertime, play games with, shoot in blocks of 50. Keep track of how many you hit. Keep track of how many you hit in a row. And make it a game of yourself over summer to see what kind of records you can break with yourself. And that's how you get better.
I have a good friend, who was a very good free throw shooter.
They qualify very good.
Who, in practice one day played at Valparaiso High School here in Indiana and hit 409 free throws in a row. His team shot, I think, above 80% from the free throw line. And he told me just a couple of weeks ago when he was playing basketball at Indiana State, and I speak of Mike Copper, 2 different games he shot 19 free throws in a game. And he said the reason was when they were ahead, people would foul him. He was always the guy that they wanted the ball in his hands at the end of games. And
no shot clock at that time, so.
No shot clock.
But again, there's no way to find this out, but how many games those teams won that he played on because of the free throw shooting?
And you know when you coached, I know when I coached, you could shoot free throws and it was a close game. You were going to be in at the end of the game if you were a good free throw shooter. So you can't do some of the other things as well as other players. If you're an outstanding free throw shooter, coaches are going to have you in at the end of the game. And we've got a full timeout now taken by Coach Albert Hendricks of the Lebanon Tigers. But I remember Mike telling me at Valpo High School they had a big net and they'd go in there at lunchtime. If you missed or made, it'd fall into the net and roll right back in the little trough beside you. I take great pride when I go to the gym now to hit 4 or 5 free throws in a row.
Well, you can relate the story his high school coach's name was Virgil Sweet, and he developed this method. Matter of fact, Bobby Hummel played at Valparaiso. They still, I believe that school system still uses this method.
I think they do too.
And he demonstrated at an Indiana basketball coaches clinic about 5 or 6 years ago. And I know Mike went to practice the week before.
Didn't want to embarrass himself, so he went to practice free throws so he could, and took 4 or 5 practices and then hit 98 out of 100 free throws at age probably 68 years old. And that ends the third quarter, score 35-23.
We stopped the bleeding there a little bit as the half ended. But again, to be able to compete with a team like this, these are the scores that you have to have. And as you've talked several times today, we've missed some really good shots that would have given us an opportunity to be even closer at this point. As we sit up here and watch the fourth quarter unfold, I'm sure that we're still going to be playing man-to-man. And watch the Lebanon basketball team and the offensive sets that they run and how many times they're able to get people open right underneath the basket with a big height advantage. But they do a great job of picking that out and getting the ball to the spots where they should have advantages.
So for Sparkplug scoring, Elvin Camacho has 3, Zeke Perez 5, Drew Valentine 15 for their total of 23. Leading scorer for Lebanon at this point is Luke Farrell with 9, Reese Jones with 8.
You know, when you're outsized as we are, a lot of people will say, somebody told me one time, why do you want to get the ball inside? You're not going to score anyway. It's amazing how many three-point opportunities you can get when a ball gets inside and gets, as Luke Harnseca used to say, gets spit back outside. Same way it goes, offensive rebounding is a great way to get three-point shots.
Long 3 by 22, Michael Reese.
Tiger basket, Michael Reese.
Kevin Ruffin tried to bounce it off a Lebanon player's leg. It came right back to him. And Speedway has a turnover.
We're kind of at that point in the game right now where we're going to have to take some chances. And
Valentine at 5'7" pulls down the rebound for the Sparkplugs. Goes inside to Jevin Ruffin, and he's fouled. Fouls on 20, Luke Farrell. His first. Jevin Ruffin will go to the line for the Sparkplugs with 2 free throws. Misses the first. That's the first free throw the Sparkplugs have missed. At this point, they were 3 for 3 as a team.
Checking in from the Sparkplugs 34, Zeke Perez.
38-24, 6:25 remaining in the ball game. Had good box out,
yes,
but we didn't go after the basketball.
You know, we talked several times this year. We need to be a team that chases down rebounds, all 5 people. Nice play. Nice play.
Luke Farrell, the field goal. He's now the first double-figure scorer for Lebanon. 11.
Oh, wow.
Ball tipped out, but goes right in the hands of the Tigers. Yeah, just kind of a catch-22. You're either caught behind somebody defensively, or if you front them, they lob over the top of us, get an offensive rebound.
Lebanon does a really good job of taking away the help side defense, and as you said, if we front them, they're going to be able to get a pin, and that's why they've gotten a lot of shots inside the lane.
Number 22, Michael Reese.
Michael Reese will be at the line on the foul by Zeke Perez. He hits the first free throw, 7th point of the game. 5:09 remaining. It's now 41-24. Hits the second as well. The Plugs have only scored 7 points this half, Coach. Carson Harrison with the open three, short. Nate Metallic with a rebound. Puts up left-handed and misses. Maybe Sparkplug ball out of bounds. Speaking about Nate Metallic putting that one up left-handed, I think Butler University has one of the most adept shoot with either hand from 8 feet away, and Kamar Ball one of anybody in the country.
He does, and you also remember Roosevelt Jones at Butler and how he got some of his shots off when he played was amazing. But you're right, Kamar Baldwin, that was a tremendous shot he hit the other night against Villanova. Mm-hmm. He is a really good, I'm saying the obvious here, but what a great college basketball player.
Drew Valentine, three from the corner, no good, and a fast break opportunity missed by Hunter Crew. Jevin Ruffin brings it down, turns around, gives it right back.
Tom, that's why you always want to follow younger people, whether you're offense or defense. That's why you always follow people that are shooting layups, because you never know.
Checking in for the Tigers, number 20, Luke Farrell. Also checking in, number 14.
14. Why Nance, first time into the game. I think we're probably going to be seeing some subs come in fairly shortly for the Tigers. Coach, we talked about Drew Valentine at half with 15, and I should have mentioned it earlier because he still was on 15 until just now. It's his 17th point of the game. Once again, a post up inside.
Really difficult.
Why Nance just entered the game. Zeke Perez re-enters for the Sparkplugs, replacing Jevin Ruffin. Sparkplugs with another turnover.
And you know, another thing to look at here is too, Speedway, we're going 7 deep. Getting a game where you're into your 30th minute of the game, playing as hard as we do, I think that's also, fatigue's been a factor here in the last 3 or 4 minutes. We've had a lot of turnovers that we did not have early in the game.
As Michael Reese hits a 3 for his 8th point of the quarter, 11th point on the night. Be interesting to see the shot chart, Coach. Now, while they've hit some 3s, they've got a lot of shots inside the lane on second chance opportunities and post-ups that they scored from. Fouls on 25, Kobe Ottinger.
Michael Reese is hitting 41% this year from the three-point line. He shot 120 of them and have made 49. And the place where he's getting his shots are in this game are from the top of the key, which is the best percentage area that you can shoot three-pointers.
And he's got 3 threes this game. Reese Walker with the free throw. 2 points for Reese Walker, 47-28. Into the game and scoring for the Tigers, number 40. We have no idea who that is.
Checking in for the Sparkplugs, number 55, Marcus Gibson, and number 31, Evan Owen.
I think they're twin. I think they got.
Checking in for the Tigers, number 12, Colin Morgan.
Corbin Sloggart is listed as number 11, but I think he's wearing 40. In the lineup for the Sparkplugs, Marcus Gibson.
Good shot. Good shot.
3-point basket, Carson Harrison.
Carson Harrison for 3 for the Sparkplugs. Marcus Gibson, 55 for the Sparkplugs. Coach is an outstanding football player for the Sparkplugs this year. Good defensive player. Carson Bertrand misses a gimme. Reese Walker with a 15-foot jumper, no good. Another layup missed by John Morgan on the lob. Another offensive rebound by the Tigers. 1 minute remaining, 49-31 Lebanon. Evan Owens also in the game for the Sparkplugs. Carson Bertrand scores. A timeout taken by Lebanon just to get a player into the game. Into the game number 3, Blake Bryan. Coach Albert Hendricks taking a timeout just to get a player into the game. 31 for the Sparkplugs, 51 for the Tigers. Carson Harrison for 3, and that's good.
Carson Harrison for 3.
That's his second 3 of the fourth quarter. Kevin Slogert for a layup for 2. And that's going to end the ball game. Lebanon Tigers come away with a 53-34 victory. We'll be right back with your scoring and an interview with Coach Charles Bennett.
Varsity basketball,